Hello, this is Jim and Rayven, again for the Monopoly Project. We're going over some of the contract documents on our latest purchase attempt at a house on Valencia. Rayven is a member of Jeff Sutherland's team. As you remember, Jeff's our broker agent, and Jeff is overseas now in Israel on a class for his vicarage, and so Rayven is standing in. She's part of his team. The project goes on. When you have an excellent team like Jeff and Rayven, the project goes on, you know, whether somebody's unavailable or not. And so we're real happy to have Rayven sitting in here because we can just keep going like nothing happened.
Yeah, thank you. We try to not skip a beat.
Yeah, we're not skipping a beat. So here we are. Now we're going to talk about SPUDS.
SPUDS,
and
not
SPUDS,
potatoes.
SPUDS, not potatoes. Yeah, if you're
I love
thinking
that.
potatoes, SPUDS. What does SPUDS stand for? SPUDS is a...
SPUDS stands for seller property disclosures, essentially. So the seller is obligated, per the listing contract, to disclose any and all information regarding a subject property that they are listing for sale. So in this case, they can explain as thoroughly as possible with mailbox numbers, mailbox locations, whether the home has had any water damage, pests, any pets have lived in the home, dogs, cats, reptiles, what have you. It's a pretty thorough, detailed explanation for the buyer to review during their due diligence period.
And if I'm correct, it's filled out by the seller, and it's not contractually binding, right? It's their best knowledge.
Correct. It is their best knowledge. However, if there was an item that a seller failed to disclose on this particular document, because all parties have to sign this document, the seller signs it on the date that it was filled out. The buyer signs it acknowledging that they've reviewed it. In addition, they have to initial each and individual page, right? Now, let's say in an example, a seller failed to disclose a significant water damage done to the roof. Maybe there's a big roof leak. That wasn't disclosed. It did not come up in the initial home inspection. But then a month later, something happened and it came up. And then, oh yeah, we forgot to disclose that. That could potentially be a liability issue.
A liability. In the sense, by then the sale would have been complete, and so you would be able to go back to the seller and get recourse. Is that the idea?
You could, with, of course, speaking to a real estate attorney in that regard.
Yeah. Okay. So it's an important document.
Very.
And so I think this one is, other than we had a little difficulty in getting it, the seller's agent was a little late in providing it. They did finally provide it.
Yeah.
And I think there's no flags in there that say this is wrong. Let me ask you that as a question.
Sure. I will say that this particular SPUDS document for this particular property on Valencia, it is limited. It is known that the seller never resided in the property. He is an investor and seems to be out of the country, so doesn't know a whole lot about the home itself. So therefore, there's a lot of questions and blanks on the document, which can pose questions for the buyer themselves.
Yeah. And we have been, on all of these documents, we've been copying the home inspection, the SPUDS, we've been copying Sherman, our property manager, to see if there's anything that he would see as a flag, because obviously he's dealt with a lot of rental homes.
Right.
And so he can read between the lines on a SPUD and on a home inspection and ask the right questions. So.
Right. It is pretty common for an investor of a property to have some limited disclosures available on the property itself. But again, hopeful that as an investor you are a little more hands-on with your investment and try to know as much as you can. So in situations like that, the buyers, we encourage the buyers to ask as many detailed questions as they can to fill in some of those blanks, because it is important that you thoroughly conduct your due diligence on the property before you move forward.
Okay, good. Well, thank you, Rayven, and I think we'll go maybe on to the next document.
All right, awesome. Yep.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.